So for many beginners who are learning FPGAs, what ends up happening is that, and we'll analyze what kind of state machines can go where. This signal over here, if you see in the test pen, once the push button input goes low, it is the rising edge, and if I press this. Hello everyone, welcome to day 32 of the 100 days of FPGA series. In this video, we will be discussing more about state machines. Okay, so in the last two videos, we have covered Mealy and Moore state machines. Okay, so we'll be taking a look at what's the difference between those two. We'll be running those two state machines on slower clocks so as to observe what's the difference. Okay, how they respond. Okay, and also in the coming videos, we'll be developing lots of more complex circuits, lots of more complex designs based on these state machines. Okay, so it is actually a good time to analyze how these state machines actually work and what is going to be our philosophy of developing state machine based designs. Okay, because a lot of times what happens is that we do not actually think in terms of Mealy and Moore state machines. Okay, we actually develop an intuition for state machines, and that intuition will build in the coming videos. So we'll talk about that as well. Okay, I'll show you my experiences and my views on how you should approach this topic. Okay, so for many beginners who are learning FPGAs, what ends up happening is that they basically focus too much on this fuss about Mealy and Moore, and they forget the actual application of state machines. Okay, how they apply a state machine to actual problem statement. Okay, rather than thinking about all this theory, you actually think about the final outcome of the state machines. Okay, and we'll discuss about that. Before discussing that, let's actually see what we built in the last two videos. Okay, we'll see the behavior of the Mealy state machine, we'll see the behavior of the Moore state machine. Okay, and we'll analyze what kind of state machines can go where, and based on that we can analyze and gain experience on what state machine to use where. Okay, let's go into Vivado. Let's take a look at the waveforms that we had generated for the Mealy and Moore state machine. Alright, so this is the simulation waveform for the Moore state machine. Here you can see I've written the test bench file for this. So the test bench is a simple test bench where we are just calling the DUT, we are providing the clock, and we are simply changing this push button input. Okay, so whenever the input goes high, we actually are going to transition the state, right? But the output is not going to be reflected immediately. This is the characteristic of the Moore state machine, because Moore state machine output will only change once the state is changed, right? Because the output is directly dependent only on state, right? So here if you see this signal over here, if you see in the test bench, I have generated, I've shifted it 3 nanoseconds towards the right of the positive edge of the clock, right? 3 nanosecond delay over here. So I've done that so that we are able to see that the output is only reflected when there is a state change. Okay, here if you see, this has the output has the input has changed over here, but the RGB LEDs is the output, it hasn't changed, right? It only changes once we hit the positive edge of the clock, another positive edge. So if you see the state as well in the scope and DUT, if we take the state out and take a look at it, let me relaunch the simulation. Alright, so you can see that since the state is updated on the positive edge of the clock, this push button input takes effect on the positive edge only, right? And also the output over here is changed based on the state. Okay, it's a direct reflection of the state. So this is the typical characteristic of the Moore state machine, right? In the Mealy state machine, the output will be dependent on the present input as well. So this is the waveform that we have seen in the last video, and if we just take the state out, just add the state in the waveform and relaunch the simulation. Alright, so here you can see, even though the state is changing here, the output is already changed once the input is changing. Okay, it's only showing that the output is changing based on the input. Okay, what output will change depends on your design. Okay, whatever you want to design. This design over here, this is basic only, don't take it as something rigid. This is not something like this output will be changed in this order only. this is a simple example for the RGB LED. Here the thing to focus is that this output changes as soon as the input changes, right, and the state changes over here. And we had also seen that this glitch over here actually happened until the push button input was low. Once the push button input goes low, the output is basically the state's output, okay, whatever the state output actually is. So this over here is because we have the combinational setting in the Mealy state machine. If you see over here, what happens is that once the state changes from red to green, and if the push button is not released, what will happen? Instead of taking green color, it will take the next color, right, because this is the characteristic that we have set. Also keep in mind that this is not exactly what is going to happen in every Mealy machine, okay. This is just an example to show you that how the output basically instantaneously reacts based on the input, okay. So this is the nature of the Mealy state machine, okay. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to basically put this both state machines on the FPGA, and we'll be observing the output of the state machines on the FPGA, okay. So again, for doing that we need to slow down the clock. Why is that? Because our FPGA clock is again very fast, and this over here, if you see a single time period, it is 10 nanoseconds for 100 megahertz clock in my FPGA, okay. So let's say the input over here comes at 3 nanoseconds, okay. The input over here came at 3 nanosecond. That means for the Mealy state machine, the transition is going to happen over here itself, right. But for the Moore state machine, it is going to wait for the next clock rising edge, and there it will change the state, and based on the state the output will be changed, okay. So for the Moore state machine, the output will be changed over here instead of here, right. But if you see the distance between these 2 points, it is simply 7 nanosecond, right. 10 nanosecond minus 3 nanoseconds is 7 nanoseconds, and telling apart this small amount of time is not really practically possible for us, right. So that is why we need to actually slow down this clock. If we have this clock slowed down very much, let's say we have a 1 second time period clock, and if we basically push the push button at 300 millisecond mark, 0.3 second mark, we will be able to observe that the LED, the output LED, basically for the Mealy state machine, it changes over here itself, right. It will change over here only, but for the Moore state machine, it will take another 0.7 seconds to actually show the output, right. So this will be able to observe in the slowed clock version, okay. So here if you see in the module, I have done some adjustment. In the top module, what I have done is I have called this clock division module, okay. So this clock division module is the same the one we used in the shift register video, the previous one. This is not the 1 second pulse one, which was 1 cycle pulse. That is the recommended method. So earlier also I have told you that this kind of clock signal generation, derivation of a slower signal and feeding it as a clock inside an always block is not recommended. But here, since I'm doing a demonstration, I'm just going to use this only. The better version of this is, of course, that I have showed you in the shift register video, that you can simply derive a single cycle pulse of every second, and you can use that inside an always block to trigger some kind of a logic, right. That is the usual method for slowing down your response, I would say. So here for demonstration, I have just used this only. In the top model, I have just called it, and as I've passed the slower clock in the Mealy state machine, okay, as the clock. Same for the Moore state machine as well. In the top model, I have done this adjustment, and I have removed the positive edge detector module because we do not need that. So next, I am going to take the camera to the FPGA, and we'll be experimenting with these two state machines, and we'll see the response, what kind of response we are expecting. Okay, so let's see. Alright, so let's put the Moore state machine example first on the board. So I'm going to program the board. Alright, so the board is programmed now. And you can see there are two LEDs. I have used two LEDs. One is showing the this red one over here is showing the clock that we have derived. Okay, 1 second period clock. That's the slower clock which the state machine is using. Okay, so this is the Mealy state machine and this is the input. I will show you. I will push the push button once the clock rising edge, after the clock rising edge. Okay, and then we will see when is the input registered. So I've pressed it, and as you saw that when the rising edge came, then only the color of the LED changed, right? Let me adjust the exposure a little bit so that the LEDs are visible. So the rising edge of the clock is when the red LED is goes high, right? That point is the rising edge, and if I press this, you will see once the rising edge comes, then only the state changes, right? This is the Moore state machine. So if I keep it pushed, you can see every rising edge it is going to change the state, right? Now let's put the Moore state machine on the board. Alright, so now the board is programmed. Again, this is the Mealy state machine, right? Let me change the exposure again so that the LEDs are visible. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this button once the rising edge has arrived. Okay, after the rising edge. So let's see whether the input is available immediately or it is available after the next rising edge, right? So if you see, you can see as soon as I push it, even though the rising edge is not coming. Okay, rising edge is when the this red LED goes from low to high, right? That is the rising edge. When the red LED basically glows, that point is the rising edge, right? So even though when it is not here, it basically changes the input. Next thing is let's see how it changes the state. Right now it changed the state to green because I had pushed the push button and kept it pushed after the rising edge as well. So that we will see. Okay, as you saw, the input, the output basically changed as soon as I pushed the push button, and I released the push button after the rising edge. So now the state also changed and it has changed to blue. Okay, so the next state is red. I'm going to push the push button, the red is going to be immediately visible, and now we will test that period where the output was basically different because the push button was high, right? So the next state over here for this LED is going to be red. But if we kept the push button high, even after the state has changed, what is going to happen? It is going to show green. In the condition we have written that if the push button is high and we are in the state of red, we are going to output a green LED, right? So if you see, got to red, but it was green until I released the push button, right? So this is the validation for the Mealy state machine. The output immediately changes as soon as I push the push button. Okay, it is not dependent on the it is dependent both on the state and the input, right? And the Moore was only dependent on the state. Alright, so we have seen the FPGA demonstration for the Mealy and Moore state machines. Okay, we slowed down the clock and we saw the response of both the state machines, and the response was basically same as what we saw in the test bench, right? So now I would like to discuss the philosophy of design for the state machines. In the coming videos, we are going to be designing lots of complex projects based on the state machines. Okay, and for that we need to have the intuition of the state machines rather than thinking in Mealy and Moore terms. Okay, so my advice for the state machine would be that you do not get caught up in this Mealy and Moore thing. Okay, in the later videos when we master the state machines and when we design lots of systems, after we design lots of systems, you will see that you do not really think in terms of Mealy and Moore state machines, rather you think in terms of response of the state machine itself. Okay, so many beginners basically get caught up in this state machine thing because of this Mealy and Moore, and they do not understand why is this distinction made. So you do not need to get caught up in all those things. You need to start building with state machines, and then you will notice that it is the overall outcome that is important rather than what method you use. Okay, in the industry as well, they do not usually think in terms of Mealy and Moore. Okay, I have worked at several places and in several projects, and I have never heard people pondering over whether to use Mealy or Moore. They never talk about those things, right? Because they are focused more on the outcome of the state machine. Okay, how we are going to control different things using state machine. So the problems that you can solve with state machines would usually be stepwise problems. Okay, so let's say you need to follow some kind of a path for basically getting the overall output, okay, getting the final output. So for doing this first, then moving on to this operation, then moving on to this operation, you can for these kinds of application you can simply call a state machine, right? Because state machines will help you in order to basically break the problem statement in certain chunks, okay, different steps. In the coming videos we'll be basically segmenting the problem statements, and we'll process each segment based on what state we are in, okay, and that is how we'll be using state machine, rather than actually getting too much theoretical about and caring too much about the format of the state machines. Okay, so this was about distinction between Mealy and Moore state machines. I slowed down the clock and put it on the FPGA because I wanted to show you what is the outcome of both the state machines, okay, both styles of coding. Okay, so the name is not important, the outcomes are important. Based on whether you want your output to be combinationally changed or you want your output to be dependent on states, you can use different styles. So this was all about Mealy and Moore state machines. In the next videos we'll be doing projects based on state machines. Okay, simple projects, we'll start from simple projects and then we'll move on to more complex projects. Okay, so this is all for this video. Thanks for watching.